The corpse god reflects on his past, reminiscing about his days as a necromancer fighting on imperial battlegrounds. His parents had sold him to the imperial court sorcerers, and he longed for a peaceful life. This desire for tranquility led him to 5 youths, who he eventually came to call family. However, their peaceful existence was shattered when Geldwood soldiers killed the children. The soldiers believed they had freed the children's souls from the corpse god's control. In response, the corpse god spent the next century seeking vengeance on the soldiers' souls in the coal mine that had become their home. The mine transformed into a labyrinth of corpses, and the corpse god was unable to die naturally. The corpse god waited for someone to attempt to kill him, and eventually, someone succeeded. But the corpse god had prepared for this eventuality, and he was able to perform the secret art of reincarnation, thereby ensuring his continued existence. The thought of his reincarnated life being short-lived is unacceptable to the corpse god. However, the unthinkable has happened to Masaki Sakimiya, who has died at the hands of the corpse god. The corpse god frantically searches Masaki for healing potions or enchanted items, not out of concern for her life, but because he fears he has endangered the peaceful life he has been enjoying. Suddenly, he realizes that he has been speaking to a corpse and is struck with horror. Takumi Karuya is equally horrified and lets out a stressed scream as he struggles to comprehend what has just occurred. Lisa Clarissa Karaki calls him to inquire why he is taking so long to update her, so he hastily sends her a brief video of Poka Shinoyama screaming next to Masaki's lifeless body. Masaki had a happy childhood with loving parents who believed her bright smile would bring joy to others. However, her smile disappears when she witnesses a laughing man brutally murder her parents years later. But Masaki's smile returns when she seeks revenge against the man, now older, and known as Clarissa's pet Zaki the Killer Killer. The man recognizes Masaki and warns her that Clarissa will punish her for her actions. Masaki counters that it was Clarissa who ordered the man's death, but she conveniently leaves out the fact that Clarissa instructed her to torture the man with a nail gun before killing him. Masaki reflects on whether she looks as happy as the man did when he killed her parents. When the man realizes that Masaki is the Sakimiya's daughter, he assumes that she is seeking revenge. However, Masaki corrects him and admits that she kills killers for fun. It dawns on her that she has never tested whether killing good people is fun. The man claims he is a good person, but Masaki kills him for his lie. A client hires Yutokoru to kill a 16-year-old, and Masaki volunteers for the job. However, her willingness to kill an innocent minor like Poka suggests that she has severe personal issues. Masaki ends up killing Poka with ease, but she later reflects on the incident while standing near a fence overlooking a steep drop to the street below. During her reflection, Masaki realizes that she cannot bring happiness to others and believes that she would be better off dead. She has already tested whether she can kill both good and bad people, and now she wants to test whether she can kill herself. As she prepares to step off the fence, Takumi calls her. Masaki stops her fall and answers the phone, only to be informed that she cannot die until she has completed her job. To Masaki's surprise, Takumi informs her that she has not completed the job, as the 16-year-old she was supposed to kill is still alive, walking around with a slit throat. Masaki wakes up disoriented, realizing that her life has just flashed before her eyes. Poka celebrates the success of Takumi's drone, but Masaki is confused and lifts her shirt to check her stomach. The drone sinks in embarrassment, and her colleagues' weapons are trained on her and Poka. After being told that she has been reborn through magic, Clarissa confirms that Masaki is alive and hugs her. Masaki has a pulse. The news is overwhelming, especially when Corpse God tells her that she is now a zombie. Takumi remains safe in his control room and tries to maintain his sanity by writing a text file addressed to an imaginary audience. He explains that he is an info broker who sometimes helps hitmen hide bodies on the side, but he never expected to find himself in the middle of the mess he is currently facing. 40 minutes earlier, Yutokoru subordinates, including Lisa, had arrived with guns aimed at the violently deceased Masaki and the still-living Poka. Clarissa demands an explanation from Poka for what has just happened, and then she turns to Takumi and asks him what the drone is doing there. Takumi is surprised and tells her that it is not his drone, but the one he lost control of earlier. Clarissa notes that the drone is flying silently, which Takumi confirms is not typical behavior for drones. Corpse God intervenes, requesting that everyone stands by while he repairs Masaki's physical damage. Izuna Ajijo moves to help, but Clarissa stops her and teases Takumi, saying that she knows he did not use special effects to create the scene. Takumi jokes back, saying that if he could make CGI that good, he would be working in the film industry. Clarissa tells Corpse God that she and her companions came to kill Poka and avenge Masaki, but their plans have been derailed. She notices the circular runes underneath Masaki and asks if she is still alive. Corpse God confirms that he has repaired her physical damage, and her brain and soul are intact. However, a sorcerer will need to cast resurrection magic when Masaki wakes up to bring her fully back to life. Silence falls upon the group as all eyes turn to Corpse God. Magic, Clarissa repeats, her tone flat. Corpse God nods in agreement, explaining that his body knows spells like rise and arise from video games. Clarissa interjects matter-of-factly, noting that Corpse God likely has no knowledge of what video games are. Realizing that the locals are not familiar with magic or spirit arts, Corpse God hastily scrubs his magic and lamely claims that the people experienced a mass hallucination. Despite his efforts, Clarissa remains skeptical. Corpse God attempts to change her mind by resummoning his blades and pinning an aggressive man with his skeletal hand, admitting that he initially underestimated how fragile and easily killed the locals are. Clarissa requests a moment to think, surprising Takumi and granting Corpse God some much-needed time to develop a plan. In reality, Corpse God lacks a clear plan himself, so the brief reprieve benefits everyone. As a siren wails in the distance, Clarissa notes that the noise has become all too common lately. Takumi confirms that the sirens are for a fire at the Shikuzawa building and sends Clarissa drone footage of the incident. While she expresses concern for the children inside the building, Clarissa acknowledges that their hands are tied and they must leave the situation to the fire department. As Clarissa reviews the footage on her tablet, her subordinates notice a quadrupedal eyeball perched on her shoulder. Izuna swiftly slices it in half and points her katana at Corpse God, who inquires about the children. Clarissa reveals that the Shikuzawa building houses an unlicensed nursery for Yakuza orphans and children of sex workers. Perplexed, Corpse God asks why he needs directions, given his lack of connection to the land. He explains that he has been burned multiple times, and no child should have to experience such agony. Clarissa directs Takumi to use his drone to lead Poka to the fire. Takumi expresses concern that Poka might try to escape, but Clarissa wants him to keep an eye on the child. Meanwhile, Corpse God arrives at the site using magic circles and skeletal hands, leaving Takumi's drone struggling to keep up. Upon arrival, Corpse God enhances his evil eye with magic and determines that the children's life forces are still viable. Takumi asks about Corpse God's plan, but he seems to act on instinct. Corpse God elevates himself using a skeletal hand, attracting the attention of onlookers, and jumps into the fiery emissions. Two caretakers have already shielded a group of children from the fire. Corpse God asks the four spirits hovering overhead if the children belong to them, and they confirm that they do. He then requests the assistance of the children's parents and manifests 4 skeletons for them to possess. Onlookers below caught sight of 2 skeletons in the window, one of them cradling a little girl. As the girl opened her eyes, she saw her deceased father, who smiled before passing the children to Corpse God's skeletal hand outside the window. Once the hand safely deposited the children and caretakers on the ground, firefighters rushed in to attend to them. Takumi let out a heavy sigh as he watched Corpse God retreat via the rooftops. Twitia was already buzzing with tweets about skeleton hands intervening in the fire. He wonders, who in their right mind does that in front of a crowd? What is Poka's motives in all of this? How could Takumi reconcile Poka's treatment of Masaki's life as a mere plaything with his treatment of the children's lives as something to be saved? Whoever this Poka was, they were entirely inhuman and a monster that Clarissa should steer clear of. Clarissa concurs with Takumi's assessment, but regardless, Masaki is about to regain consciousness, so Takumi would be a deer if he could fly a drone back to the abandoned building. Takumi questions if she's actually going to wake up, as Ichino shakes Masaki down, who repeatedly asked her what she meant by she was dead. Masaki is unable to comprehend her situation. Meanwhile, Corpse God is still grappling with the fact that children continue to suffer in such an advanced nation as the one he has found himself in. He asks Clarissa what it would take to achieve peace in such a nation, but is taken aback when Clarissa requests him to elaborate on the kind of peace he envisions. When it comes to Clarissa's concept of peace, money is her go-to solution for achieving it. She then inquires about Poka's identity, but corrects herself and asks about his goals and intentions in Shinjuku. Poka is unfamiliar with Shinjuku, except for its apparent lack of magic. Nonetheless, he believes that he can use his magical abilities to make money. He is determined to pursue anything that can lead to the peaceful life he desires. Clarissa, Shinjuku's mediator, offers to support him in this pursuit. She has already recognized that Poka has undergone a transformation and is no longer the same person. As an incentive, she assigns Masaki and Takumi to assist Poka in adapting to life in Japan. And with that, we conclude this episode.